So I am making over $20,000 a month from a select few Google business profiles, but this one here in particular makes me over $10,000 a month with almost no work whatsoever. It took me a couple hours to set up in the very beginning, but actually upkeeping this and having that $10,000 consistently come in every single month takes maybe 30 minutes of work collectively a month, okay? So in the last 30 days, this one has made me around $12,000, and I'm gonna break down exactly how you can copy this system and pretty much set the exact same procedure up for yourself, whether you want to run this in the same model that I do, or if you actually have your own service business and you want to set up a Google business profile that's going to print you a ton of money. So essentially what I do is I list these Google business profiles for different services. As you can see, for example, this one here is for plumbing. And so in specific areas and specific neighborhoods, I will have a Google business profile listed for a specific service, example plumbing, and people will then be able to call this Google business profile and inquire about their service needs. So again, for example, like this, people would be calling here if they needed a plumber. What I pretty much do is I will have a virtual assistant pick up the phone on the other end. They will book the appointment for a plumber to go out and actually do the quoting and do the work on their home. And once the work does get complete, I have a partnered plumber, a plumber that I partner with, and we go ahead and split the profits. He gets 60%, I get 40%. So that's exactly how I run this business and how I make over $20,000 a month. But if you are a plumber yourself, this is something that you might want to consider for your own business or any other service provider. I've worked with roofers, lawyers, real estate agents, everything across the board. But either way, I'm going to show you exactly how you can set this whole system up. Enough yapping. It is a 4-step procedure, and I'll go right into it. So the first thing that you want to do, actually, you know what? Before I even do that, I actually want to show you exactly what this would look like. So first of all, for example, as we are on the topic of plumbing, whenever somebody is searching for a plumber in this city is specifically called Richmond Hill, a few results will show up at the very top, right? So the first result that'll usually show up is a sponsored result. This is somebody who is paying to be up here. So depending on what industry you're in, this person might be paying $50, $100, $200 every single time somebody's going to call his profile. Now, these three are all organic results. These three are profiles that show up here just by Google's algorithm, what they push up to the very top. So if you see this one at the very top over here, Plumber Done Right of Richmond Hill, 72 reviews. This is the phone number here, 647-371-5418. You'll see that I actually own this phone number and access to this phone number. So anytime somebody calls this number, as I pretty much explained, I would have a virtual assistant answer the phone, and from there, they would be able to connect with our partner plumber, do the work, get the job finished, and we will split the money. So as you can see, in the last 30 days, we have gotten 60 calls on this profile. So I'm recording this on like the 23rd, in the time period of January 24th to February 22nd, 60 calls. And as you can see, this one here was unanswered, but hopefully the VA called them back. Anyways, 647-371-5418. Just to confirm again, 647-371-5418. You can even call this business profile, and as long as it's in working hours, the VA will probably answer the phone. So actually, don't do that. Just it's gonna probably waste our time. But anyways, you could if you really wanted to. Anyways, as I was saying, so these 60 calls. At a usual conversion rate, now think about plumbing, for example. That's why I usually recommend, if you were to do some type of business like this, you would go for a service like plumbing. Think about it. A plumbing need is an urgent need. It's a necessity, right? For example, another kind of service that you could do this with is like car cleaning, car detailing. But people who call for car detailing, it's kind of like a want. It's not so much of a need. So your conversion rate on 60 calls might only be 15, whereas 60 calls from people who need a plumber, again, these are intentful searches. Like people are specifically looking for a plumber. So out of these 60 people, more than likely around 45 of those were booked appointments, okay? Now, the average ticket on a plumbing job, at least in my experience from where I run, is around $700. So in profit, I make around 30%, 40%, which is $300. So out of 45 bookings at $300, I don't even know what the math is. It's a lot of money. I don't know obviously exactly whether it was 45 or 30. And to be completely honest, this $12,091 number is just for the title. I actually have no clue how much it made me, but it's in the ballpark of this. Like it always runs between that 10 to 12K mark. So I just put a random number that looks cool and probably believable. I don't actually know if that's how much it is. But I think that's enough yapping. You guys should by now have a good understanding of how this works. So I'm going to show you exactly how you can set this up. So the first thing is that you need to research. You need to find the best industry and the best area to get into. So for example, like plumbing is a really good one, as I said, because it's an urgent, it's a necessity. Everybody who calls is actively looking for that service, and it's very difficult for you not to close them, right? Especially if you're ranking first in the search results. So you want to look for not only a good service, but you also want to make sure you are in a city that allows for enough search volume, but also doesn't have a crazy amount of competition. So for example, 2,000 searches a month is what I look for. So you can use specific tools on Google. For example, SEMrush's keyword overview tool. If you search up plumber Richmond Hill, you'll see that there's around 2,700 searches for that service in that city and things related. So I typically look for over $2,000 or 2,000 searches a month if you want similar results like this, where you can get around 60 calls a month. You can get away with anywhere over, I'd say, around 500, but you might not be able to get 60 calls every single month. The drawbacks to those areas with a lot of searches, though, however, is usually that the competition is quite high. So you want to actually handpick those areas where the competition might be low compared to the search volume, and that's when you attack those areas. So this city specifically, you'll look at the top three and see the other two guys. This guy only has 49 reviews, and this guy only has 29 reviews. So with my 72 reviews, I'm easily able to get up here. Now, by the way, these 72 reviews are not real at all. I'm going to explain that in a second. However, some cities, you'll search for a plumber in a major city like Toronto, which is where I live. You'll search up for a plumber and you'll see the top three results have 2,000 reviews, 700 reviews, 600 reviews. So it's going to be very difficult to rank there. Even if they have a lot of searches, it's going to make it hard for you to actually get any calls. So that is the first thing you want to do, is find one of those cities where it's easy to get into. I usually recommend if at least 2 out of these guys have under 100 reviews, go into that city. Do not wait any longer. Boom. As long as there's enough searches as well, right? And as I was explaining, you want to be making at least $300 a booking, or else you're not going to make, $10,000 a month. And this is kind of like a bonus. Good neighborhood, all right? This means like, some specific neighborhoods might have specific like ethnic backgrounds that might be hard to deal with, that price shop a lot, that might give you a headache. Just throwing it out there. A better neighborhood is better than not a good neighborhood. Anyways, so that's the first step, the research aspect. And once you have all that up, you are ready to list this profile onto Google so that it shows up in the search results. So how do you actually go about listing this profile? So this is going to be the hardest part by far. The thing is, with Google, you're technically not supposed to list a business that you obviously do not own. So obviously I do not own a plumbing company, and I actually have multiple of these business profiles on different addresses. So obviously I don't own offices that are staffed with like a plumbing business, right? So you pretty much have to go through a Google business verification that you have to bypass, okay? So you want to look at first what requirements that specific niche has for Google verification. So depending on what industry you're in and different things like that, you might be able to get away with submitting a code, or maybe it has to be a video. Now usually it's going to be a video with these niches that are high ticket, for example, like plumbing. But essentially you just want to go and you want to do a little bit of research and see what Google actually requires for this verification. Then you're ready to pretty much get things going and try your first verification. So search up GMB and then click the first link, or just go on business.google.com, okay? This is the link you want to go on to actually list this profile. Now it's going to ask you for some specific things. It's going to ask you for your name, or the business's name. It's going to ask for the website, the phone number, and all that kind of stuff. So you can go ahead and do it. Some of it is optional, but essentially it's going to run you through some questions that you're going to be showing publicly visible on your profile. And then it's going to go ahead and send you this Google Business Video Verification, okay? So it's going to ask for 3 separate things that you need to make sure you hit. If you hit these things, your profile will get approved by Google. And I have a more in-depth video on this on my channel. I'll leave it somewhere on the screen right now. So you guys can watch it, but essentially this is pretty much how you're going to go about this verification. So the first thing is your location should match your business profile address. So you need to show proof that the location that you're listing this profile on is actually the location that this business exists. So for example, if you are, listing this on your home, right? You're going to be pretty much showing Google like, hey, this is the right address. This is the same location. Okay. Now, another way you can go about this is faking the location. That's something that I go deeper into. That's something that I can't really speak about on here. Like if you're really interested in scaling this up and applying these certain principles and stuff, I'll leave a call in the description, or a link to book a call with me in the description. It's obviously for like my paid stuff. If you're looking to set this up and make a lot of money doing it, I offer some paid stuff that'll, help you get there quicker. It's like a one-on-one program. But anyways, enough yapping about my stuff. Pretty much you got to share your location or fake it, and then you have to show the business's name and category on a permanent signage. Okay, so it needs to be printed on a permanent fixture is what Google asks for. So pretty much, for example, like McDonald's, you'll see a big M logo in the middle of the building somewhere. I don't know how McDonald's looks, but you'll see it. You'll notice it, and Google wants you to pretty much prove that there's some sort of sign that indicates that this business is actually here. It's not just like some, glued on piece of paper. It's actually like here and on this address, and that's really the business, and people can visit it and all that kind of stuff, right? And then the last part is that you're authorized to represent this business. So obviously, not everyone can just go into like a random, dental clinic and record a video and list it. You need to actually show that you're authorized to operate this business. So for example, they ask you to like unlock a door, the store entrance, operate a payment tool, proof of address, like unlock a cash register, things like that. So pretty much just like anything that could prove that you're actually an authorized owner of this business. Once you do these things, and again, these are very easy to fake. These are all super easy to fake, but you do have to put in a little bit of effort on faking it. Again, this is a one-time setup. Like once this is done, this profile can print you thousands and thousands of dollars a month. So don't be discouraged if it is a little bit harder than you expected. Okay, it is going to be harder than you expected. I want to be upfront with you, which is why a lot of people will literally pay me to help them through this whole process. It is pretty difficult, but it is 100% worth doing when literally all you got to do is do it once, and from there you're making money forever, probably. And so that's kind of the second step. Now, once your profile is listed on Google, you need to actually get it to rank to the top 3 here. Because if you're not ranking in the top 3 here, you're not going to get a lot of calls. If you're at the very, very bottom of the Google search, no one's going to scroll down and go all the way down to call you. It's not going to happen, right? So you want to essentially be ranking anywhere in the top 3. Obviously, the higher, the better. Okay, so here's how you're actually going to go about ranking these profiles. So the number one thing is you want to be having the at least the same amount of reviews as the lowest guy in the top 3. So for example, if I were to go into this city, I would at least want to get 30 reviews so I can match with this guy, okay? Now, there's other things that you can do to make up for the fact that you might not have as many reviews as some other guys in here. But generally speaking, you want to at least have the same amount as the guy in the top 3, and the rating matters too. You'll notice I have a 5-star. That really helps. If you have anything under a 4.8, it's really going to tank your business profile. It's going to go all the way to the bottom. So try not to get any 1-stars from unhappy customers. Make sure your actual service provider, your contractor that you're working with, is doing good work, which obviously will take a little bit of effort to find how to get a proper contractor, but I'm going to get into that in just a second. But that's the first step, get enough reviews. And then you also want to make sure, this is very important, you want to make sure that the city and the service is in the name, okay? So just to give you like an example of what this looks like and what this doesn't look like. So Plummer Richmond Hill, you'll see it's clearly in the name. And the great part about that and why it's so important is you'll see when you look at the search volumes, this is the highest volume search compared to anything else. So, for example, if it was called Richmond Hill Plumbing Done Right versus Plumber Done Right of Richmond Hill, I'm going to rank lower because there's only 170 people searching for Richmond Hill Plumbing, whereas there's 480 searching for a plumber in Richmond Hill, okay? So being intentful about that word, about the title is very important. You want to go for whatever most people are searching for. So, for example, if you're doing this for like a roofing business, take the time to see, hey, are people searching roof repair? Are people searching roofer? Are they searching roofing? plumbing, see what the most common searches are and make sure that that is in the name as well as the city, because a lot of people will specifically search for their own city. All right, so Pioneer Plumbers, no good. Okay, Superior Plumbing and Heating of Richmond Hill, much better, because he has at least plumbing and the city name. Now he does rank lower because he does have significantly less reviews, just around half of the reviews, with also less rating. But it would be honestly quite easy for this guy to surpass here, because these guys just don't have a good name that will rank, right? It's basically keywords. You need to have the right keywords in your profile. I have a ton of videos that go over that too if you want to check out some of the other videos in my page. But anyways, that's how you want to make sure that you have enough reviews. You want to make sure that the city and the service is in the name. And then there's also a lot of sections on these profiles that you can't see until you go to actually manage it and it's on your profile. But pretty much what it would look like is there's a ton of sections where you can fill out. You want to make sure those are fully filled out with those specific keywords that I was just talking about. Again, I have a ton of videos on keywords on my channel if you want to go check those out. But pretty much you'll see there's a description section, opening date. You can just put whatever here. You can just, like, literally I put 2014 for this. And then just like a bunch of other things you can add. So doesn't identify as woman owned, has wheelchair accessible restroom, has transgender neutral washroom. Fuck knows, this was literally listed on a random office. But the point is, filling in this info actually helps with ranking your profile. So you want to make sure everything is filled out with the right keywords, okay? And then once this is all done, like your profile is listed, it's got enough reviews to rank there, it's got the right keywords, you're going to start getting calls, right? Like imagine out of 2,700 searches every single month for a plumber in this city, 60 isn't even that great, but that goes to show, like, I'm getting 2 calls every single day from just one profile. So pretty much once you're ranking here, like, you're 100% going to start getting calls coming in, and now you need to monetize them. Now you need to actually make some money off of them. So this is where the fulfillment comes in, okay? So you're going to partner with a local service provider. For my example, a plumber. I'm going to partner with a plumber, and you're pretty much going to negotiate a 60-40 split. Now, when you are negotiating the split and pretty much like speaking with your plumber in the first place, there's a specific way that I want you to frame this whole partnership as, okay? So the first thing is you got to make it clear, like, you're sending them multiple bookings every single day. You're booking all the appointments. You're taking care of all the back end stuff. You could tell them that you're paying for ads too, and that you're really not making much money after your 40% split. I actually used to say that all the time. I'd say, like, hey, I'd like to do a 60-40 just because I'm also booking all the appointments. I'm spending a good amount on advertising. I really won't be making that much. Like, yes, I'm making some money, of course. I want to make money too. This is my business. But I am not making, anywhere near as much as I want to be making. Right? Frame it like that, and then you're pretty good to get a 60-40 split. How do you actually get a plumber or a service provider? Simple. Go on Google and actually just scroll all the way to the bottom to those profiles that probably don't get many calls. Now, these people, you can tell that, like, they're trying to put themselves out there. They're trying to get more business, but they're not there yet, right? And so you can actually go ahead and ring them, and most of them will be open to a 60-40 split. They're able to charge whatever they want. They're going to be actually doing the quoting. So your job is only to book the appointment for the plumber to go and do the quote. From there, the plumber will take care of everything else. And a lot of them will be happy with the 60-40 split. They get to choose their prices. They pretty much get free jobs. My main plumber does like 25K a month as well. So he's happy. And from there, literally, now I just want to backtrack here after I say this and talk about those reviews. But after the booking is complete, after the job is quoted, the plumber should be able to do it right there and then after the quote. And you're going to invoice the customer. You're going to pay the contractor. So this is what it would kind of look like. So you'll see, like, January 16 and 17, boom, one job got paid $200, another job $930, another job $620, another job $565. So as I was saying, the average ticket on these jobs usually comes out to around $700. You'll see they're all somewhat in the realm of that. Sometimes you'll get a small booking here and there, 200, but I was getting 2 bookings on these days, so it adds up, right? And then you're going to pay your guy. So out of this total revenue, which is what, like 2.2 grand, I think, around here, right? 60% goes to the plumber, so that is like 1,200 or whatever, and I keep $800 for these 2 days. Okay, so that's essentially how the whole model works. Now I want to jump into those reviews. How are you actually going to even get these reviews, right? Because 70 reviews is like kind of a lot, right? You're not gonna have 72 customers to leave them, that's for sure, because you just started this. So how do you get reviews? Number one, ask all of your friends and all of your family members. Okay, you can easily get 20 reviews like this. I can, off the top of my head, list 20 people: your sister, your brother, your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, your girlfriend, your best friend, your best friend's best friend. I don't know, like your best friend's girlfriend. I don't know, just get everybody. Go through your contacts and just message everyone. That's the first thing. That's going to get your first 15 to 20 reviews. Second, you want to start paying people, okay? Now, again, you don't have to do this. You can fully, and I've done this before, and I've paid people to do this for me before. You could fully, like, go to the mall, go to a crowded area, go to a college campus, and just ask people for reviews. Hey, I just started this business. Do you mind helping me out really quick? It'll take like 20 seconds. You just go on Google Maps, search up my business, and leave me a review. It'd help me a ton. Most people will do it, actually. You'll be surprised. Most people will happily help you. So that's one way. Another way that I've gotten a ton of reviews is I would I'd set up a stand where I would pretty much give something in exchange for reviews. So for example, like a can of soda or an energy drink, you go to like a college campus, set that up, and boom. Now, the third way, this is going to be the easiest. You just pay people just be like, hey, dude, I'll give you $5 for every review you can get me. Just ask your friends, and then you can tell their friends to ask their friends, and their friends to ask their friends. You'll rack them up quickly as long as you have like 2 people, because then you can just be like, hey, can you ask your friends to start getting me reviews too? I'll pay him $3 and I'll give you 2, right? So then they're making passive income off their friend. So that's a neat way that I was able to set up like a pretty big review pyramid and get hundreds of reviews across all my profiles. That's essentially it. That's really all it is. It's not complicated at all. Like, again, through 2 to 3 or 4 profiles, you can genuinely be making around $20,000 a month. You just have to be you have to be smart about the way you want to set these up in the right areas, the right places, and obviously everything else. You got to make sure that Google doesn't catch on and take your profiles down. Google's pretty strict on this. You got to make sure you're able to bypass that whole verification part. Like I said, it is more difficult than you probably think. So I do want to prepare you if you do plan on going out yourself and figuring this out. It will take a lot of time to figure out. Okay, the figuring out process took me months. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. It took me months, but once I figured it all out, setup was super quick. Boom, pumping money next month. Second month that I actually got everything set up, $15K in profit. So you can easily replicate the same. You're just going to have to go through that full setup process and learn everything yourself if you do plan on doing that. Now, if you would like to expedite this process and you would like me to help you with it, then that's where I come in. That's why I make these videos, so that you can pay me to help you get paid, pretty much. Anyways, I will leave a link to book a call in the description as well as the pinned comment. And from there, you'll be able to schedule a meeting with me, and I'll show you what I have to offer. So I've helped multiple people do this and make over $15,000 a month sitting at home, just sending work out to other contractors. And I've also worked with big contracting companies. I've worked with some plumbers. I've worked with a roofer who's doing over $200,000 a month. So if you are, and that is purely from these organic Google business profiles. So if you are any one of those people, if that kind of sounds like you and something that you might be interested in, link to book that meeting with me in the description. I've been talking for like 20 minutes. My voice is like cooked now. But anyways, link there, description, book a call with me, and we'll talk about if this makes sense for you and what I offer. And I think that's everything. If you can leave me a subscribe as well, that'd be pretty cool. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers at the time of recording this. So you know what? That would be nice as well. And I appreciate you guys all for watching. I hope this video was valuable. I hope you all learned something, and I'll see you all in the next one.